comes with the pain of feeling alone. And right now in the stage of me not talking to my mom, I'm being strong, but at the same time, how do you mourn someone that's still living? Hello beautifuls, my name is Giselle, co-host of the Strong Sunflowers podcast and founder of GS for Growth. And today we're gonna talk about the 5 top regrets of the dying and how to avoid them. I'm super excited because obviously we want to avoid these regrets when we're on our deathbed. This video was inspired by Carly. We interviewed her at the Strong Sunflowers podcast and she talked about her small business. And one of the things that she mentioned is that she read this book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, written by a nurse that has interviewed thousands of hospice patients, and she wrote down the 5 regrets that they have. And that's how she really started her business. She built her business around those 5 regrets and how to get people to not have them. If that's something that you're interested in knowing a little bit more about, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We talk all about growth mindset, mental health, travel, loving our bodies, loving ourselves, and just showing up authentically. So if that's something you're into, make sure that you subscribe, like this video, and let's get started. Number 1 regret of the dying. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not what others expected of me. Number 1. This channel is all about authenticity, being yourself, loving yourself, growth mindset, and basically figuring out who the fuck you are so you can show up as that person. Growing up, we were taught to be selfless, to put others first, but to be honest, that has only created a generation of people not living in their full potential. I always find it weird that we encourage little girls, strong as sunflowers, to live their very best life, to go for their goals and their dreams. And then as soon as these same girls, to shoot for the moon and the stars, but then as soon as these same girls become mothers, those dreams go out the door. And then no, your family and your child is your main focus and you can't be selfish and follow your goals and your dreams. And I was like, this just creates this generation after generation after generation of women not achieving their goals, their dreams, and their full potential. Because then that little girl that she does have, she's gonna teach her to go for their goals and their dreams. And then as soon as she has a child, she feels like she's gonna have to get those up. And I feel like this is a topic that's not talked about enough because some of us gracefully accept it, but for others, it definitely causes resentment because they feel like they missed out on something, a life unlived. Especially because we're all full of so much potential. My parents separated when I was really young, a baby, and I remember growing up and asking my mom what she wanted to be when she was younger, and she actually wanted to be a lawyer. And again, my mom had me when she was really young. She was only 20 years old. In my family, there's definitely a generational trauma being passed down from mother to daughter, and I can't even imagine. I know that it must have been so scary for my mom to have me at 20 and not have the support and love and just care that she needed at that time in her life. And even though growing up that was something really scary to me, I think that's why I turned to religion, and I think that's why I also didn't believe in sex before marriage, because I didn't want to be that statistic and I didn't want to be a teen mom. I didn't want to be a young mom either. I wanted to make sure that I can provide the things that my mom didn't provide for me. And I personally haven't talked to my mom since last year. It's been over 4 months, maybe 5 months. And from all that, I definitely became the black sheep of the family. I became the chain breaker. I became the person that does live her life authentically, the person that has boundaries, the person that says what she means and feels her feelings and emotions. And I'm assuming that that's something really scary for my mom, because she never had a safe space to feel her emotions and know who she is and set boundaries. There was just this is what you're supposed to be, and then you just follow that. And then along came me and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No, this is not what we're doing. And I feel like in the last definitely 10 years, from 18 to 28, I'm 28 now, I have grown exponentially. And I have been setting boundaries like no other. And I can imagine that that's very scary and uncomfortable for my mom, because that's not what she grew up with and that's not her norm. Especially when you come from a generation that you just have been silenced for so long. And I feel like the chain breakers out there, if you are the black sheep of your family, you're really the mirror for them to see themselves in you. You are having the courage to speak up, the courage that they didn't. You are having the courage to live an authentic life, to be fully you. And whoever fucks with you, fucks with you. They expected you to conform and to be the person that they wanted you to be. And I feel like the older I got, I just kept disappointing my mom. And it's so funny because everybody always comes to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I saw your mom and she was just talking about how amazing you are and amazing things that you're doing. And I'm like, my mom has never said that to me. And when we think about this regret, not having the courage to live our life authentic, I feel like we don't talk enough about why do people don't have the courage to live their life authentically. Usually when you do that, it comes with the pain of having to let go of people. It comes with the pain of having to say goodbye. It comes with the pain of people not liking you. It comes with the pain of losing people you love. It comes with the pain of feeling alone. And right now in the stage of me not talking to my mom, I'm being strong, but at the same time, how do you mourn someone that's still living? How do you mourn someone that you love so much but doesn't accept your boundaries, doesn't see it as courage that you're living authentically, sees it as disrespect to her whole being? You know, these are tough things. Like, being the black sheep is not for the weak, baby. But is it worth it? Do I regret anything? Hell no. The people that want to be in my life can be in my life, but it's my life. These are my boundaries. These are my rules. You either play with it or get out. And like I said, it's definitely something scary because these people that we have to cut off from our life, that the people that fall off when we are being authentically ourselves, are sometimes the people that we love the most. For example, yesterday I had a horrible experience at work. I had an allergic reaction and I'm pre-med, so I was like, oh shit. Like, I was very itchy. I felt my body swelling up. My hands were tingling. My bottom lip was getting swollen. My manager gave me a Benadryl and it took like about 35 to 45 minutes for that to kick in. I was throwing up. I had like bad diarrhea. Like, it was not a good time. And I remember my coworker that came with me to the hospital, she was asking me like, who can I call for you, you know? And like, when you think of like moments like that, at the end of the day, I'm still an adult, but we always need our parents, you know? My dad's in Cuba and my mom doesn't talk to me. So I definitely in that moment felt what people are trying to avoid, you know? They're trying to avoid that lonely feeling, so they're trying to fit in what people expect from them so they don't lose the people they love. Regret number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. If you know me, you know I'm always working. I am always working, okay? After I graduated with my bachelor's, I always said if I'm not studying, if I'm not moving forward with my doctorate and my medical field things, then baby, you better be making money. So I try to be as busy as possible, booked and busy all the time. But I do believe that I have an amazing work balance in a way, because I do take about 2 to 3 months off. Not a lot of people that I know can do that, you know? But I also do take the time to do the things that I love, like starting this YouTube channel and creating this content for you guys and creating a community in the field, and my podcast, the Strong Sunflowers podcast, interviewing people, being able to talk to people that are having experiences in life that allow them to thrive and shine and bloom and reach their goals. You know, I love that for me. I love traveling. Oh my gosh, I travel at least 7 to 10 times a year, you know? So having that balance between working my ass off, you know, work hard, play harder, that's my motto. That's what I live by. And recently, I'm even starting a business. I'm starting my own app. I'm so excited for that. I can't share too much with you guys because right now it's hush hush, but I can't wait to talk to you guys about that because that's like my baby, my passion project as of now, even though YouTube and all the other things are. You can have multiple children, okay? I've been also hanging out more with friends and saying yes to things even though I'm exhausted. Like, I'll work a double and my friend will be like, you wanna go to a club or dinner? I'm like, you know what? Yes, I do, because I need to get out of my comfort zone. I know that most of America lives paycheck to paycheck. And I know that for a lot of Americans, their employer has a lot of power because they are living paycheck to paycheck and they are afraid to ask for that time off. They are afraid to just be an inconvenience to their boss because they just want to be on their best behavior so they don't get on the shopping block. I remember when I was working in the ER and a patient came in and she was having palpitations and chest pain. And she had come in with her work uniform. She was working at one of those big fast food chains and she was the manager. And levels were through the roof. Like the test that we were doing showed that she was having like an active heart attack, or maybe if it wasn't a heart attack, it was like a mini heart attack prior to coming in. And all she was worried about is like, hey, I have to go, it's season, like my job needs me, I'm the manager, they can't survive without me, I need to get out of here, no, I can't be admitted, like I have to go. And I remember thinking, I'm like, girl, this is your health, you could die. You work at a fast food restaurant, they can live without you, they will survive without you. And I feel like because we're living paycheck to paycheck and so much of the employer has so much power, people forget that you are replaceable, especially for these big corporations with these, you are replaceable, you know? So making sure that we are not falling for this American consumerism and that we're focused on the things that we need to focus on. Stop wasting money on things you don't need. Stop wasting money on trying to impress this person, that person. Stop trying to find happiness through things. Go to therapy. Because a lot of you, if your love language is gifts, it's because you grew up with no gifts or too many gifts and your parent was absent in your life and they were trying to buy you off. Whatever it is, make sure you fix that because it can ruin your life. And then you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're unhappy. You're not living an authentic life. And you're working too much. It all ties into all these regrets. So make sure that you get to the root of the problem and nip it in the bud. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Oh my gosh. This one I can see both ways because feelings in our life, more often than not, drive our life. The way that we feel is very powerful and it influences the way that we show up in our world. If you would like to learn more about emotional intelligence, I would totally recommend Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. She explains in detail almost every emotion humanly possible and how to navigate it if that's how you're feeling. When it comes to having the courage to express our feelings, I feel like we need to have a step back and really ask ourselves, I wish I had the courage to even feel my feelings at all. Because a lot of times we just ignore them or push them to the corner or to the back burner, and we are just ignoring the hell out of our feelings, and then they don't have an outlet to come out, and then we usually blow up on people. Many of us suppress our feelings and it shows up in our body, like in our health, anxiety, depression, as well as how we show up in the world. And usually the person that doesn't allow themselves to feel their feelings also does not allow other people to feel their feelings at all. So they're usually like, toughen up. So this doesn't allow them to have empathy or sympathy for someone going through something because they feel if they have to be tough and take it, so do you. I feel like each regret has so much to unpack, so I'll probably have to make a separate video for each regret and really dive deeper into why we had these regrets in the first place. And one thing that I've learned or noticed is that they're all interconnected. And if we fix one, we can usually fix all. I think of not expressing my feelings, I coupled it with fear. I feel like growing up, especially in a Hispanic Latin family, having an opinion and expressing your feelings were basically tabooed. If you have an opinion, you're being disrespectful. And if you're having too many feelings, like toughen up, girl. Mental health is not a thing, or wasn't a thing at least, in the Hispanic community back when I was growing up. So growing up and becoming an adult, I definitely suppressed my thoughts and opinions and my feelings because of that upbringing. And that definitely affected me in my marriage. I got married at 19 and I did not know how to communicate. And I didn't know how to communicate specifically my feelings. And like I said, when our feelings don't have an outlet, we tend to either bottle it up and it affects our body. I remember that I gained like 30 pounds because I was depressed and I had anxiety. And I also remember just blowing up on my spouse, like taking it, and then out of nowhere, just blowing up. And he's like, what the hell? And I feel like a lot of people, when they don't want to feel their feelings or communicate them, is because they also have the fear of losing that other person, you know. growing up, again, when I had my opinion or shared my feelings, like it was considered disrespectful or invalidated. So what did I do? I suppressed it and not talked about it. So just getting out of my shell and getting comfortable with people not liking me, people not liking my opinions, people not liking what I have to say, being true to what I feel and how I feel about it has been the definition of finding my voice. And even though I got married really young, again, there were so many things that I had to unpack within myself. And then finding the courage to allow myself to feel my feelings and then to express those feelings and file for divorce. Like, divorce has been one of the hardest things that I have ever gone through. And I don't think it's the divorce itself. I think it was such a powerful growth moment in my life, and it was so painful because I was growing so much as well as losing someone that I loved. It definitely took a lot of courage. Number 4, I wish I had let myself be happier. Boy, was divorce crazy. Boy, did I come out of it. I think I separated at 23. I divorced at 25, and like officially. And I remember I was just thinking of like, no one's gonna ever love me. I'm gonna be alone forever. I'm gonna be a cat lady. I was just so scared because even though my marriage wasn't perfect and it was just not the marriage for me, like having a partner there that has your back, like I never second guessed that my husband had my back and that he loved me. Those two were always constant in our relationship. And he also took care of most of like the bigger bills, like paying the rent and things like that. I always took care of like my stuff, like my phone bill and my car insurance. And deciding to separate and leave and having the courage to do that, plus the fear of like, how the hell am I gonna take care of myself? I can't afford to take care of myself. I can't afford rent. I can't afford any of it. It was very scary. I had to move in with my mom. And I really had to dig into myself, into my growth of like, how did I even get here? Like, Giselle, what the fuck? I had to face a lot of my fears, but facing those fears actually allowed me to be happier. It allowed me to have more confidence in myself and like, I can do anything through Christ who strengthens me, baby. When everything was falling apart, I'm just thankful that I was able to rebuild, and this time build on a strong foundation and really know who I am, what I want, how I show up in the world, my flaws, how I'm trying to get better, growth, having that growth mindset, allowing myself to be happier, traveling, finding self-care, self-love, reading, growing, all these things that set my heart on fire. I was able to give myself more of that, and I love my life. My life is great. I truly do. I'm the happiest I've ever been. And number 5, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. I feel like as we grow older, I know life gets really busy and it's exhausting. Especially a lot of my friends got married, got divorced, had kids, had their parents pass away. Just a lot of life happening, you know? And it gets busy. But I do have many friends that I've had since like middle school, which is crazy to think. We're talking about 15-year friendships, and I think it's important to keep that form of communication. I actually made a video on this, and it was all about how to end adult friendships, because sometimes these are people that you've known forever, and I know that there has to be a balance, you know, a balance of your time and mine, because if I'm pouring into this friendship and you're not making any effort to be a part of my life, that's draining, and we don't want any drainers. Okay, you got to be pouring. I pour to you, you pour to me. But keeping in mind that shit happens, everybody has their own stuff. I am guilty of this too. Sometimes when we're going through a lot in life, we tend to seclude ourselves, and our brain keeps telling us, oh, we don't want to be a burden, so we just want to fix a problem ourselves. And guess what? You can fix a problem yourself, because you're strong enough to fix a problem yourself. But guess what? You don't have to. Let your friends be friends. Let your friends show up for you the way that you would show up for them. Let your friends love you in your darkest, deepest moments. Let your friends be there. They want to be there. You are not a burden. That's what friends do. Instead of suffering alone and in silence, allow yourself to be happier. Allow yourself to express your feelings. Allow yourself to take the time off that you need. And especially, allow yourself to have the courage to live a life that's true to yourself. I love you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.